Today I've got a haul from the House of Paris Corner, and there are some real gems in this video. I've been a little hard on Paris Corner at times in the past, just some of my fragrances that I was disappointed in, especially over the past year, came from that house. But I want to be very clear that I also have some incredible fragrances from the House of Paris Corner, and the ones in the video today are going to line up mostly in that category. So we're going to dive into this. Before we do, remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. Also, let me know, have you tried any of these dupes or the originals, and what do you think of them? And why not give the video a like if you like it? Let's go ahead and begin. 4 fragrances. I have this one here, December Vanilla, which is a Kahila sugared patchouli vanilla, something like that, dupe. This one, very interesting. Most of these I haven't heard anyone talk about, maybe a mention here or there, but you know, a couple of these really should be getting some hype. This next one is Kahila Lux. So is this an Amir? No, just Paris Corner, Kahila Lux. This is also a Kahila dupe. And this one is Kahila Invite Only Cherry Tobacco fragrance. We've got this one here, Cheruto Royal Reserve from Pandora Scents, Subhouse of Paris Corner. This one is an Amouage Opus 14 Royal Tobacco, I believe is the right name, dupe. And then finally, this one. This one's been around for a while. I have the original, and I'm pretty impressed with it. This is Emir Oud Vanilla. This is a Emir Oud Vanilla dupe. All right, so let's actually begin with this one. So I have recently said a couple times that the original here, I got my little 60 ml Mancera, is currently one of, if not my favorite, you know, novelty bias included, vanilla fragrance. I love this stuff. It is a very oudy vanilla, but it's done in such a way that the oud comes across, you know, almost leathery. So it's like powerful, sweet, gourmand vanilla with some spiciness and some oud that has got that sort of like dark, woody, almost leathery kind of feel. So anyway, so this is the original, and what I have to tell you is that Paris Corner's take on that fragrance, which comes in the same bottle as their other Mancera dupes, this one right here, it's very close to the original. It is, you know, whenever I first started wearing it, I'd already been wearing the Mancera for a few months, and my initial thought was, I'm not sure if it's as sweet as the Mancera is. And so I wore this one a couple days before I even broke out the Mancera. I was actually on a trip, didn't have the original with me. And then I started wearing them side by side, and they are extremely, extremely close. And I don't think any longer that the Mancera is sweeter. Let me tell you the actual notes that you're going to have in this fragrance. You've got oud, saffron, black pepper, cardamom. So you've got a good base of spiciness. In the heart, you have floral notes. Then you have Madagascar vanilla, guaiac wood, and sandalwood. And so a lot of woodiness, but again, they almost come across leathery to me. It's not a leather fragrance, but that's the type of oudiness you get. At least that's the way my brain interprets it. And all of those notes come across pretty much identical in this one as they do in the Mancera. The one thing I will tell you is I do think the Mancera is stronger. The Mancera is a monster. 4 sprays and you are radiant for, you know, 10, 12 hours, something like that. This one I would say, you know, maybe go 6 or 8 sprays, but what is almost guaranteed to happen is this one's going to get stronger as it sits, as all of the fragrances in this bottle, in this line have done. So this one I think is a really great recommendation. If you want a vanilla fragrance that is unique, different than what most people are wearing, pick this one up. And here's the shocker about this DNA in general. People like this. It is not off-putting. I've gotten, well, from my family anyway, the whole family has told me how much they like this. And I'll mention, like I did last time I said that about this DNA, that's unusual for my family. They're not all telling me they like what I'm wearing, but this is one of those where they did. Oh, that smells so good. What is that? You should wear that more. So check this stuff out. It's quite inexpensive. I'll try to include links below. Again, Emir Oud Vanilla. Let's go with this one here. This one's been on my list for quite a while. You know, the price has kind of fluctuated. I was able to get it, I think, under $30, which I was totally happy with that. December Vanilla. Now, I've never smelled the Kahila Original Sugared Patchouli Vanilla, I believe is what it's called. This one's pretty interesting. It is unisex for sure, and some guys would even say leaning feminine. I would not say that about the one that I just showed you. And in this fragrance, you have notes of, so it's actually called Vanilla Royal Sugared Patchouli. And you have notes in this one of rum, vanilla orchid, jasmine, vanilla, creme brulee, spicy notes, tonka bean, leather, rose, patchouli, brown sugar, oud, sugar, amber, and musk. There's a lot of sweetness. Period. A lot of gourmand notes dancing around in this fragrance, but you do have that patchouli and oud, sort of the darker element that to me makes it suitable for me to wear. But with that, you know, brown sugar note and creme brulee and vanilla and, you know, vanilla orchid, rose, jasmine. These are notes, some of them are sometimes associated with feminine fragrances. But what I can tell you is it really just smells like a really nice vanilla fragrance with some gourmand sweetness and some florals. You do pick up that kind of candied sweetness and the jasmine, the rose, give it a light floral kind of a feel. But then the patchouli gives it this, you know, not quite earthiness, not quite chocolatiness, but somewhere in the realm of earthy, chocolatey, leathery, oudy, kind of a dark blanket that kind of lays over the fragrance. So it smells excellent, and I could totally see my wife wearing this as much as I could see me wearing it. So I think it smells great. I do think, though, if you are sensitive to unisex fragrances, you probably want to stay away from it. It is marketed as a unisex fragrance. The original is anyway, even though this bottle looks quite feminine. So, you know, check out the notes, see what you think. It's inexpensive, and if you like sweet gourmand vanillas, then this is one to check out. One of the reasons I was finally sold on it is I saw people in reviews saying the patchouli was too much for them, and I thought that's right up my alley. I love patchouli, and I do not think that this is an overly patchouli dominant fragrance. It's nowhere near Parfums de Marly Carlisle or something like that. Definitely more vanilla forward than a fragrance like that would be with the very patchouli forward DNA. I'm going to save probably my favorite for the last one. This next one, this one is the Cheruto Royal Reserve. It's a, again, Amouage Royal Tobacco Opus 14 clone. Now this fragrance, I want to tell you the notes because the thing that struck me right when I sprayed it on is, man, this has a lot of olibanum. Like this is a very frankincense forward, olibanum forward, resinous fragrance. And there are a number of Amouage fragrances that have that particular olibanum kind of frankincense note front and center. This is definitely one of them. You've got olibanum, anise, elemi resin, cardamom, basil, bergamot, tobacco, licorice, fenugreek, prunol, lavender, osmanthus, orange blossom, rose. Then again, olibanum, bourbon vanilla, myrrh, birch tar, benzoin. Do you hear how many resins are in this fragrance? Oud, Peru balsam, labdanum, guaiac wood, tonka bean, vetiver, and musk. Now, I don't get all of those fragrances. What I get is a frankincense-heavy fragrance with some spice and tobacco. And frankincense can come across a little bit soapy. If you've ever, smelled pure frankincense, there's a particular kind of a smell. With this one, the way it currently sits, I don't think I'm going to be wearing it that much. What I hope is, because here's what I get under all of that frankincense, some of the spice from the cardamom, from the licorice, from even some of the oud, some of the tobacco. So some of the notes that I really was looking for in buying a fragrance like this, I do absolutely get them, but they're blanketed under such a weight of frankincense and a couple of those other resins. You know, the benzoin does give it some sweetness. It does actually have tonka bean note. It's got, you know, some sweet notes in there, but they are not the main part of the fragrance. I would say, you know, frankincense first, then spice, then a little bit of sweetness, probably coming from the benzoin, coming from, again, that tonka bean. So this one's really, I would say, TBD on how much I'm going to like it. It's like right under the surface of all of that frankincense. There's some really good stuff peeking its head out. Even the tobacco note. The tobacco is sort of a, you know, dark, more moist or damp tobacco, not like a dry green tobacco leaf. So to be continued. Check it out if you like, you know, incense, frankincense, heavy fragrances. This would be one to check out. So again, Cheruto Royal Reserve. Finally, this last one is killer. I think out of those watching, just knowing what I know about this kind of fragrance, this is probably the one. This one and the Vanilla Oud Emir fragrance would be the two that are going to have the most people saying, wow, that stuff is amazing, as far as guys largely that are watching my channel. This stuff is phenomenal. Right here, Kahila Lux. Again, it's a Kahila invite only fragrance, which is a cherry tobacco fragrance, but there is a sweet spiciness in this fragrance that will remind you a lot of Parfums de Marly Wajan. That hot, sweet, spicy cinnamon, like, you know, big red chewing gum, kind of hot, sweet cinnamon. That is there front and center. It's, you know, one of the main things that you get out of the fragrance in the opening. And I think all of these are going to kind of resettle, and they're gonna change significantly probably over the next couple months. But right now I get Parfums de Marly Wajan like probably 50% whenever I spray it on. But then the tobacco, the cherry start to actually come out. This is a very interesting fragrance. If you like tobacco, some cherry, and then that warm spiciness. So let me tell you the notes that are in this one. So in this one, you've got tobacco leaf, sour cherry, honey, chocolate, hazelnut. You've got Ceylon cinnamon. I think that's where that Wajan hot spicy is coming from. You've got May rose, damask rose, citrus leaf. Then you've got amber, oud, vanilla, benzoin, sandalwood, patchouli, cypriol oil, and musk. And so you've got some aromatics in there. You've got some spice in there. You've got a lot of sweet notes and some tobacco. And so this is one where I would say if you like sweet tobacco fragrances, there's nothing about this one that smells feminine to me. And it's not even necessarily overly masculine. It's just a, you know, unisex tobacco fragrance with a good bit of sweetness and spice. It smells awesome. As it begins to settle, again, the cherry tobacco, some of that honey sweetness, and even some of the rose comes out. And I have been loving some of the rose fragrances that I've been picking up lately. This is not like floral, feminine kind of rose. It's more that kind of dark, sort of thick, jammy kind of a rose that mixes great with dark notes like tobacco and like even that dark cherry. So this one is very interesting. This is the one I've been wearing the most probably, although the Oud Vanilla, that DNA I've been wearing a whole heck of a lot the past few months, including the Mancera. But this is one I think a lot of you would probably really like. Again, Kahila Lux, a Kahila invite-only alternative. So let me know, what do you think about any of these that you've tried? What about the House of Paris Corner? What have been some of the gems you've found? Maybe even some of the misses that you've found? I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. Remember to subscribe and give the video a like. I'm Justin. This is Sillage Scents.